Yo, what is up? Just dropped in on the Supertest. Today is the new heavy tank from the Czechoslovakian line. This is the Tier 10 VZ.55, the long anticipated heavy tank from the Czechoslovakian line. This is of course the Tier 10 version. This is the Tech 3 version, which means you can look forward to in the next couple of days probably the Tier 9, Tier 8, Tier 7, Tier 7s as well. So today the first thing we're going to look at is all the stats available to us right now in the Supertest. One of the interesting things about this tank, of course, is that it comes with two guns. One is an auto loader, 130mm, which is known as a VZ.55, an auto loading 130mm gun, and the other gun is a single shot, or they call it a cyclic kick. Well, it's a single shot anyway, 130mm as well, called the V54. We are going to compare these two guns. Let's go straight to it and talk about it. So what we have here is 2100 hit points, 850 horsepower, and the power to weight ratio on this tank is 15.48, which is very typical of a heavy tank in Tier 10. It has forward speed 50 kilometers an hour, which is like pretty standard for a heavy tank in Tier 10. 15 kilometers an hour going backwards. It has a hull traverse speed of 31.29 degrees per second. Now this is interesting because 31.29 is pretty good. It is not like a super agile, but it's pretty good. The gun rotation, however, is 26.07 degrees per second, which is very good in my opinion. And view range 390 meters, which is pretty standard for heavy tanks in Tier 10 anyway. Hull armor, let's talk about a little bit about the hull armor. It is 115mm frontally. Turret armor 300mm frontally, which is pretty good. And now let's talk about the gun. I'm going to put up the two differences with the gun. They both do 490 damage, of course. That is what was promised when they were leaking out this information about this tank anyway. 490 alpha on both the guns. Penetration is the same as well. 260 on the standard shells and 306 on the premium APCR shells. So the penetration is the same. The damage is the same. Gun depression is the same as well. 8 degrees of gun depression, 15 degrees of gun elevation. This is where the similarities end. Of course, the auto loading gun has two shells, in case you didn't know. 2.5 seconds intra clip from the auto loading magazine. What else is different is the auto loading magazine has a 0.40 dispersion over 100 meters. And the single shot has a 0.38 dispersion, so better dispersion on the single shot gun. The it's not an auto reloader, it's an auto loading magazine. 25 seconds to reload 2 shells, while the single shot gun reloads in 12 seconds. So that is the difference between those two guns. Also, the aim time of the autoloader is 3.1 seconds. Single shotgun is going to aim in 2.68 seconds. So that's the difference between the two guns. It looks like the two-shot auto-loading gun is more interesting because 25 seconds isn't too long to wait for 2 shots, and then you get to fire 2 shells for 490 with 2.5 seconds of waiting time. It sounds like a good deal to me, but my only gripe with this gun is going to be the XP that is going to be required to research the two guns. Why I say this? Because I think you're going to get the single shot as the stock gun, and then you're going to have to spend extra XP in order to get the auto-loading magazine. That is what I think it's going to happen. In fact, I'm sure that's going to happen. In fact, that's going to happen with the tier 9 and the tier 8 as well. You're gonna have to research the upgraded gun, and what they're gonna do is they're going to put the auto-loading gun before you get to research the next tank. So which means you're gonna have to spend the XP on researching the auto-loading gun as well before you can get to the next tank, which means I think it's going to cost a lot more to research past the tier 8, past the tier 9 and into the tier 10, and to get the auto-loading magazine you need to spend extra XP to get to the auto-loading gun as well. So I think this is where it's going to cost the players. Yes, it's an interesting tank. Yes, the tank looks funky, it looks cool, the performance is going to be pretty good. If you think about it, the auto-loading gun with a 0.40 dispersion is not bad. It is actually pretty standard. 0.40 dispersion on heavy tanks in tier 10 is pretty normal. Aim time 3.1 seconds is not bad at all. What is going to cost is going to be the XP that's going to cost you to get this kind of performance out of the gun. So that's where I think it's going to hurt the most. Other than that, I think both guns can still work. The single shotter isn't too bad. The pain is going to be that upgrade. From tier 8, you need to upgrade to the auto-loading gun before you can research the tier 9, and then you need to go past the auto-loading gun before you can get to the tier 10, which means this heavy tank line is just going to be an XP, an experience sink. You're going to sink a lot of free XP to get past the tier 8, the tier 9 and get to the tier 10 and finally to the auto-loading gun. So anyway, that is what I have for you today. This tank is in Supertest. It is an interesting tank with interesting guns, interesting mechanics. Yeah, we're looking forward to this tank except the XP part. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.